All right. So, gotta love it when bigots' plan blows up in their faces. So, this article, conservatives tried to start a boycott of LGBTQ plus friendly businesses. Their efforts backfired, which is always a good thing to hear. I mean, I could think of a lot of great reasons to boycott a business. Just the fact that they're willing to serve people you don't like. I mean, why would you do that? All right, so they serve the LGBT plus community. They probably even hire from the LGBT plus community. How does that hurt you? Why are we boycotting? Anyway, to the article. Several small business owners in Lancaster, Ohio, say they saw an increase in new customers after a local anti-LGBT plus let's try that again. After a local anti-LGBTQ plus group tried to start a boycott campaign against them. Now, my father used to get pamphlets from Physicians for Life back in the 70s, 80s, because even though he wasn't pro-life, and I question whether these people are, but that's a different story. But what he liked about it is that he could see who to not vote for and proceeded to vote for them. So it was a great scorecard, but in the opposite way than what was intended. Kind of similar here, and I've seen this on Reddit as well, that people will mention, oh, this group did this group did that. And it just made people in the area or who were going to the area more likely to frequent the business that was targeted. But anyway, moving on. According to local NBC affiliate WCMH, the group Fairfield County Conservatives began circulating a list of local small businesses on social media following 2 September city council meetings at which members protested drag performances hosted during Lancaster's family-friendly Pride celebration the same month. Oh, okay, drag doesn't necessarily have to be raunchy. I mean, probably most are, but not all. Members characterized the events as pornographic. Again, drag performers that go to family-friendly events don't do the raunchy. That is saved for adult-only entertainment. These are drag performers, not morons. An anti-LGBTQ plus tactic that has become all too common in recent years. That and accusing drag performers or anyone in the LGBT plus community of grooming. Fairfield County Conservative member Chuck Burgoon, who is also the executive director of Fairfield Family Forum, told WCMH that the group's list was meant to inform the community about businesses that have supported the Rainbow Alliance of Fairfield County, a local LGBTQ plus group that hosted the Pride events. None of us have called for anyone to boycott these businesses. We were just trying to figure out who was supporting the events, Burgoon said. Our downtown has suffered greatly, and it has come back now. We don't want to lose that again, so we haven't called for anyone to boycott anyone. Right. You just wanted people to be informed about who is pro-LGBT+. Yeah, that had nothing to do with boycotting. I'm sorry, what? What is the point? Why bring it up? Unless you feel that those businesses should be punished for sponsoring these events. Seriously, what did you think was going to happen? But the owners of businesses on the list aren't buying it. Brandon Love, owner of gift shop Bewilderment, considering what's happening, Bewilderment is a good name. Argues that the list was always meant to discourage people from patronizing the businesses on it. I mean, what other reason could there be? I mean, why say, oh, this is the group sponsoring these events, unless your agenda is to hurt those businesses? I mean, I just don't see what other reasoning there would be. And let's face it, businesses, at least in my area, when an event is sponsored, it's pretty easy to find out who's sponsoring them. You don't need to have a hate group doing that. Anyway, he claims to have seen posters slandering his shop around town, while Teresa Speakman, whose mud gallery was not on the list, says she's seen Fairfield County Conservatives members taking photos and videos of businesses in downtown Lancaster with pro-LGBTQ plus signage and merchandise. Love thinks that if Fairfield County Conservatives are going to launch a boycott, they need to stand by it. Exactly. They don't want to sound like the hateful people they are, but it's pretty damn obvious to anyone who pays even a nominal amount of attention. If the group had intended to launch a boycott, their efforts apparently backfired. We probably had at least 200 people who have never been to Lancaster that come to town to support the boycotted businesses, Love said. People from not just Columbus, but out of state have been visiting us on the daily now, and so it's definitely something I didn't expect. Exactly, because love will always triumph over hate. The best way to work against a boycott is to frequent the business. Speakman, an LGBTQ plus ally who displays a pride flag at her gallery, said she's also seen increased support. I've had people come in here and say, oh, thank you for your flag, your rainbow flag. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a safe space, she told WCMH. And she's the one who wasn't on the boycott list. I'm always interested in building community, and I'm an ally of anyone that needs a safe space. Exactly, because it takes it's a lot harder to be a dick, to go out of your way to be a dick when you don't have to be, than it is to just let people be. Allow people to feel comfortable where they are. I mean, what is the harm? Nobody is going around saying that if you're conservative, you shouldn't be here. They will allow conservatives in as long as they, don't act up, don't commit violence, don't harass people. So why would you why are you then being a dick to other people who are welcoming of everybody? I mean, if you didn't want to boycott the businesses, why go through all the trouble of letting people know that these people support the LGBT plus community? If your first reaction was hatred. Love has even responded to Fairfield County Conservatives' list with his own, comprised of many of the same businesses on the anti-LGBTQ plus groups, as well as others that are either LGBTQ plus owned or supportive. Brandon took their boycott list and made another list public that said, "Hey, these are actually businesses that you do want to support," Speakman explained. So it's kind of turned around to being shared and shared and shared, and has brought me a lot more people that have found me. I've been boycotted before as a queer-owned business. I think Ohio's just kind of sick of their rhetoric and tired of being a hateful state," said Love. Hopefully they remember that during the election. It's just not true that this is our home too. We're queer people. We're here. We have communities. We have businesses. At the same time, Burgoon and other members of Fairfield County conservatives continue to push for the Lancaster City Council to adopt a measure banning adult cabaret performances. Okay, I'm pretty sure most, if not all, blue laws are in the dustbin of history by now. Why? I mean, I understand for children not to go to them, but since that's not happening, that's redundant. So what? You're not going to allow adults to go to these performances? What are you trying to ban exactly? According to WCMH, the measure would be similar to House Bill 245, a Republican-backed bill introduced in July 2023 that opponents say would amount to a statewide ban on drag performances in public spaces. Okay, so you think that in a public space where children could be walking, that drag performers are being lewd? In public spaces, they're family friendly. Again, the raunchy stuff is saved for adult only. And obviously, a public place is not adult only. I don't believe I have to explain this, but apparently people just do not understand how shit works. During testimony before the Ohio House Criminal Justice Committee in June, Democrats questioned why the bill would be necessary when local laws address lewd behavior. Exactly. But for members of Fairfield County conservatives, those existing laws don't go far enough. At a September 23rd City Council meeting, members of the group shared a screenshot from a video taken during a September 14th Lancaster Pride event showing a drag performer with their legs splayed open. Lancaster City Law Director Stephanie Hall argued that while she considered the image tasteless, the performer did not break any laws. And I might add that I wonder if these people also have a problem with Mardi Gras. Because so far, I'm not hearing anything that's happening at these Pride events that doesn't also happen at Mardi Gras. Big difference? One is specifically to welcoming the LGBT plus community, and the other one is just simply for Catholics. So, okay. Children go to Mardi Gras. Children are walking down the street during Mardi Gras. I shouldn't say nobody, but you don't hear the brouhaha that LGBT plus community events have, so. The video from that night show, I didn't read that. The video from that night shows the performer in question was in that position for a split second while performing a dance routine. Okay. Have you seen people like, Michael Jackson or whatever other pop stars there are? Hell, in the 80s, it was, thanks to Michael Jackson, grabbing your crotch was a big deal. And I assure you, it wasn't adults who were listening to Michael Jackson. I should know because I was a kid in the 80s. So, yes, kids see this. Why is it that when it's someone in drag, that it's a problem, but other people it's just fine. Now, I know that there are some people who had a problem with people like Michael Jackson. I understand that. But it's still not the vitriol that this is happening. Dance, like speech, as an expression that is protected, Hall said, according to WCMH. Fairfield County Conservative members Robert Kinsley said this was why the group is pursuing a legislative solution. So basically, the problem is that a bunch of prudes don't want anything that is within sniffing distance of what they think is lewd behavior. I'm sorry, modern dance exists. The split leg thing is very common. So, I don't know, do you want to go back to the days when, even where the waltz was considered risque because you were actually touching, holding hands? Actually, the man's arm was around the waist. I mean, scandalous. I'm not sure what it is that these people have a problem with. I mean, it's just, sometimes, if you have a wedgie, you're going to lift your leg up and pull it out. Some people would consider that lewd, but was that the intent? No, it was not the intent, because it was just you dealing with your own issues. Okay, maybe she did split her legs, but it was not, meant in a lewd position. Because if it was, she would have stayed there for more than a split second. I just don't know what to tell you. These are the same people. And I thought I had no life, but these are the same people who will watch kids cartoons desperately looking for something that would seem inappropriate. Now, first off, about that and about this position, which lasted a split second, I remember when I was little and Grease came out. And I would sing the songs. Actually, I knew practically the entire movie by heart at one point. I knew the entire dialogue, the songs. When I listened to Grease Lightning, do you think I understood what that meant? For context, that movie first came out in, I believe it was 78. So I would have been 7. I can't remember exactly when the movie came out, so I might not have been 7 yet. Do you honestly think I understood what the lyrics to Greased Lightning were saying? No, I did not. A lot of that sexual content went way over my head. It wasn't until years later that I heard that, and I'm like, whoa, I had no idea. Because that's not how kids think. I mean, maybe because puberty happens earlier and earlier, maybe there are kids who do understand it. But I didn't. And I'm sure there are plenty of kids where a lot of this stuff that freaks adults out go way over the kids' heads because they don't think like that. They don't think like adults because they're not adults. So, and they're not sexual beings yet. So, you're using your standard of what is inappropriate because something makes you uncomfortable, even though it was a split second. Okay, if that makes you uncomfortable, fine. Don't watch it. But to assume that kids see the same thing you do, or hell, that other adults see things the way you do, no, just no. That is not how society works. lewd behavior is something that most people would say, yes, that is inappropriate. Not for a small band of people to decide, yep, we're going to try to stop this because we're prudes. We're uncomfortable with anything remotely resembling something sexual. Even if it's all in your fucking heads. But that's not the way the world works. Just because you're seeing sexual images everywhere, that just means how repressed you are. And I mean, because people aren't seeing what you're seeing. It's just that simple. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. I'm glad to see that the Lancaster LGBT plus businesses are prospering because in spite of conservatives who really should go back under the rock that they crawled out of, because again, they claimed that they weren't wanting a boycott. What was the whole point then? Why put on blast what businesses sponsored a pride event if the whole point isn't to boycott them, shame them, whatever it is? That's the only reason you put it on blast, because like I said, at least in this area, it's not hard to find out who sponsors an event. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in Lancaster. You did not have to go through all this trouble to find the businesses and flag them as LGBT plus friendly. It just wasn't necessary. People can figure it out. People have brains. Just because they don't think like you doesn't mean that they're stupid. It just means that they don't have a problem with it, even though you do. So if you don't want to frequent those businesses, fine, don't do it. But don't pretend that that was never your intent, because it was obviously the intent. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.